I've ran thousands of one-on-one coaching sessions with salespeople from all around the world, from Germany to Singapore to South Africa and even Colombia. There's one thing I've seen salespeople in all these places screw up. And if you get this wrong, it will have a domino effect that will ruin every other part of your sales process. If it's not right, your cold calls, your emails, your follow-ups will all be totally wasted. It's a very boring topic, and I imagine it's something none of you will predict. It's actually your list of leads. If you're targeting the wrong people, then no incredible message will sell your solution. Without the right who, the what, the how, the when, and the why are irrelevant. So in this module, I'll teach you how to identify your niche ideal customer profile, your ICP, how to build the list of that ICP with phone number and emails, and then how to go a layer deeper than most sellers by combining meaningful research with your list building. The problem most sellers make is they cast their net too wide. So in my case, I'd say I'm going to target any CEO and any head of sales in the world. Now, the problem with casting your net wide is that if your list is wide, then your messaging will be very generic. The CEO of a 50-person construction services company has very different needs to a head of sales at a 5,000-person software company with 100 salespeople. I like this image from Liz Foslian as it shows only a very small percentage of people can we actually make an impact on. So when deciding on your ideal customer profile, there are 3 factors I recommend to look at. The first one is the buyer persona, the second is the industry or vertical, and the third is the common observation. Now, when thinking of your buyer persona, think of the department your potential buyer works in and what seniority they are. So in my case, we sell to marketing and sales leaders with director titles or above. So this could be a VP of marketing, chief revenue officer, or a head of sales. In addition, we also sell to CEOs, presidents, and founders, essentially people that run these companies that have a sales hat. But, and a big but here, is I can't sell to all 3 of these at once. Sales leaders have very different pains to marketing leaders, and company founders have their own unique challenges. So when building a list, pick just one persona, and it means you can tailor your messaging to that person. So for this campaign, I'm going to target sales leaders, VPs of sales, chief revenue officers, and heads of sales. You can at a later date pick a different persona. I've ran campaigns and booked meetings with CEOs, marketing leaders, and sales leaders, but all in their own unique campaigns. Now, once you've picked the buyer persona, then you can focus on the industry and vertical you want to target. Again, you want to be as specific as possible. Instead of saying professional services, you can narrow it down to marketing agencies or recruitment agencies. In our case, we work with a lot of tech and software companies, but there are so many types of software: marketing tech, sales software, manufacturing tech, all with their own unique set of challenges. So for this campaign, I'm going to focus on fintech, which is financial technology. When picking your vertical, I recommend thinking about the verticals in which you have the best case studies, as those are ones you have proved social proof and have the best stories to tell. As we've talked about in the 5 pillars, email and cold calling modules, this also means you'll have better customer stories to talk about in your outreach. The reason I've chosen fintech is that we have several case studies with recognized logos I can refer to. Finally, with your vertical, you want to choose the size of company you want to work with. I do this by the number of employees, as the price of our service depends on the number of salespeople we train. But you could also do this by revenue, as you may know that companies with less than 5 million revenue are unlikely to be able to afford your services. For this particular campaign, I'm going to pick sales leaders at fintechs with 50 to 500 employees. This means later I can tailor my messaging specifically to sales leaders at mid-sized fintechs, and also use the customer stories of fintechs on our website. Now, please pause the video and pick one persona, just one, and one very specific vertical. So as an example, instead of saying I'm going to target retailers, it may be I'm going to target CFOs at luxury brands. So go ahead and write that down. Compared to most sellers' lists, sales leaders at fintechs with 50 to 500 employees is a nice niche, but there are some layers even deeper we can go to make this list even better. In our 5 pillars module, you learn that our first pillar is the observation. This is something not about you or your product, but something just about your customer that you can refer to in a message. Now, when building your list, something you can do is find a common observation for all the leads that you're reaching out to. In our case, we've ran campaigns where we know that every company on the list is actively hiring salespeople, as we know that those new salespeople may need help with training. So now my campaign is not just sales leaders at fintechs, but sales leaders at fintechs that are hiring salespeople. This is super specific, which means I can make my messaging super specific. Of course, sales hiring is only relevant for me, but for you it may be hiring IT roles, hiring accountants if you're a fintech. Now, outside of hiring, other common observations could be the launching of a new product, opening offices in a new location, using a certain technology, or a company going through a merger acquisition. This hiring observation is at a company level, but we've also ran campaigns where we know every single person on our list has recently changed jobs. Now, if you use LinkedIn Sales Navigator, they have a toggle you can use to filter these people. We've worked with thousands of salespeople across many industries, and I found that a recent job change is a great observation across all of them because these buyers are often looking to make an impact in their new role. Sales Navigator also has some other good filters to look at, such as recently posted on LinkedIn in the last month, mentioned in the news, and this means every one of these people has content that you can refer to in your observation. Even if you don't have Sales Navigator, there are plenty of great websites out there. Glassdoor helps you identify companies hiring. Built With helps identify technologies. SimilarWeb helps identify the amount of traffic on a website. So I want you to pause the video and think, given the technology you have at your disposal and the ideal customer profile that you're targeting, what are some common observations you could use to filter your list even further? Now that's the end of this free video. If you'd like to have unlimited access to the full course and watch the rest of the video, you can sign up in the link below.